In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you about 14 beautiful foliage plants for shade. So these are plants that have really unique textures or big bold leaves or interesting colors that you can use to brighten up a shady landscape. My name is Amy, and over at Pretty Purple Door, I help home gardeners design landscapes that are uniquely you. Now I'm going to remove my face from the screen so I don't block any of these gorgeous plants, and let's get right into it. First up, we have all gold Japanese forest grass, and this is a really beautiful perennial grass. It's perfect for zones 5 through 9. It's got this vibrant yellow chartreuse foliage. It's variegated. It's a medium-sized grass. It forms a cascading mound. It brings a lot of elegance and charm to landscapes, and its adaptability to shade and the low maintenance nature make it an excellent choice for various garden settings and especially in the shade. This is another variegated plant called golden variegated sweet flag grass. This is a little bit smaller than the Japanese forest grass, and it can tolerate both sun and shade. It's got this striking butter yellow foliage, and it's mixed with the green. This is really great for not only shade gardens or a ground cover, but you can use it as edging. You can use it in containers. It's very versatile, and like I said, it does tolerate the sun and the shade. It's not only visually appealing, but it's also deer resistant, and it has a nice fragrance to it. It's non-invasive, it's a fast grower, and it's perfect for anyone looking for a pop of color and some interesting texture to their garden with low maintenance. Shredded umbrella plant or tattered umbrella is a beautiful shade plant with pinkish white flowers that emerge above foliage that slowly opens like a shredded umbrella. Very, very unique foliage on this one. It does well in well-drained, rich, moist soil. It's drought and humidity tolerant once it's established. It spreads by creeping rhizomes that can form colonies over time, so make sure you have the space for this one. This plant has no serious insect or disease issues other than sometimes it can get slugs or snails, just like a hosta. It's also kind of difficult to buy this plant commercially, but if you can find it, it's a beautiful addition to almost any shade garden. Next up is Hosta Elegance, and all hostas are really great foliage options for your shade garden. There's so many sizes and shapes and colors to choose from. You can even consider planting an entire garden bed filled with different varieties of hostas. It looks really beautiful. One of my favorites to try is Hosta Elegance, and this is about 2 to 3 feet high by 3 to 4 feet wide, so it's a larger hosta, and it's got these really eye-catching heart-shaped leaves like you'll see in most hostas. But what I love about this one, it's got a beautiful shade of bluish green, and it kind of has green veining through it too. It's got such a unique texture, and it looks like it's almost been stitched by a seamstress. The only downfall to hostas in general is that they're basically deer candy, so if you live in an area where you have a lot of deer, hostas are not a great option for you. In another video, I did mention Lungwort and Bruna as great options that are more deer resistant and have similar foliage to hostas, so you may want to check those out. And hostas are actually black walnut tolerant, so if you do have a black walnut tree in your landscape and you're having trouble finding something, hostas are a good plant for that. This is Brilliance autumn fern, and it's a really versatile shade plant. It's prized for its vibrant foliage. It actually starts as an orange, red, and coppery pink in spring. So this isn't the fall color, this is the spring color that you see on the screen here. And it transitions into green in the summer, and then it turns really vibrant red in the fall. So great for multi-season interest in your garden. It's got a lot going for it. It's typically used as a ground cover in a shade garden, so plant a few of these to kind of cover the soil. It's very low maintenance. It thrives in poor soil, and it's even drought tolerant once established. And it's really cold hardy as well, down to zone 5. It prefers part sun to full shade and moist, well-drained soil. It will benefit from a layer of mulch to retain that moisture, and as it gets established in your garden, it does become more drought tolerant. This is Ostrich Fern, different type of fern, much, much larger. It's 3 to 6 feet high by 5 to 7 feet wide. It's known for this elegant, bold texture and the lush green fronds. It's really a great choice for wet shade and for rain gardens. So if you have a lot of space, I mean a lot of space to cover, these plants are very large, and they also spread to colonize an area. So this is not a good option. I repeat, it's not a good option for small gardens, but if you do have the space for it and you need something to cover a very wet area, this is probably the best plant for you. It's very cold hardy. It produces edible fiddleheads with a taste reminiscent of kind of like asparagus tasting. It's deer resistant. It prefers well-draining soil, although it likes wet soil. It doesn't like to sit in the water, and it can tolerate some sun when it's placed near water sources. So as long as it has that moisture, it's a little bit more adaptable to sun versus shade. But again, this is a great plant if you have a big area to cover. It's not something I'd recommend for a smaller garden setting. And while these lists of beautiful plants, I love sharing them, they're a great inspiration, there's still so much more involved in designing beautiful garden beds. So I wanted to invite you to check out my free training. It's called 3 Garden Design Secrets. It's about an hour long. It's totally free. And I'm going to share the top 3 mistakes that I see home gardeners making and how to actually take these plant lists and turn them into a beautiful garden that looks nice and is functional and gives you year-round interest. So if you want to get your dream garden, I'm going to leave a link to this in the description below, and you can check out that free training with me. I hope to see you over there. Palace Purple Coral Bells, or Heuchera, is a perennial plant that thrives in zones 4 through 9. It grows in a really neat and tidy rounded mound, a little bit wider, I guess, than it is high. And this plant features this deep purple foliage that transitions to bronzy green. It's known for this attractive foliage, which holds its color throughout the summer and even into the winter in some climates. The dark foliage is complemented by pinkish white bell-shaped flowers on really tall red stems. So the flowers just sort of hover above the plant and they kind of dance in the breeze. It's really, really pretty. The flowers attract beneficial pollinators and hummingbirds. Coral bells in general are adaptable to various soil conditions. They're pretty tolerant to heat, humidity, and drought. This plant is an excellent choice for shaded gardens, for woodland gardens, rock gardens, even perennial borders. I use these a lot in my landscape. There's also lots of different varieties. They come in many, many different colors, anywhere from these dark burgundy colors that you're seeing to berry colors, to bright reds, to chartreuses. I find that the darker colors can take more sun, but the bright green varieties kind of burn in the sun, so they need quite a bit more shade. I found that this variety in particular, Palace Purple, it's my go-to coral bell or Heuchera variety. It stays evergreen here in zone 7A, and it's a bit of a larger size. I really like the variety of colors you see on the leaves of this one, and even the underside of the leaves. If you tip a leaf upside down, it's like this bright pink magenta color. Just a really, really beautiful, versatile plant. I grow them in partial sun to shade, even some sunny spots in my garden. And this is a cultivar of the native North American Heuchera. So just keep that in mind that some of them are bred for these different colors and stuff. So if you wanted the native Heuchera, that would work really well in the shade too. And that's more of a green color. This is Evergold, Japanese sedge, Carex Evergold. And it's a great low-maintenance grass sedge with low clumping foliage adorned with the striking variegation of deep green and kind of a cream and yellow. It adds amazing color and texture to shady areas. It grows fast, it quickly fills in spaces, and it's fairly compact. It reaches 8 to 18 inches in height and about 12 to 16 inches wide. It thrives in part shade. It's resistant to deer. And it's a cool season grass, so you'll see new growth during the colder months of spring and fall. This Evergold Japanese sedge is going to maintain its vibrant color year-round, and it gets these little tiny coffee-colored flowers in the spring. I have a tiny little picture of what that looks like. They're really kind of insignificant, but I wanted to mention that little bit of interest in spring too. This is Pennsylvania sedge, Carex pennsylvanica, and it's a really lovely semi-evergreen sedge. It's great for dry shade and well-draining acidic soil. It's commonly called oak sedge because plants often occur in the dry woods where oaks are prevalent. The foliage is a deep green and about 1 foot long with narrow grassy blades. In early spring, there's whitish spikelets that are held above the leaves, so it's got some spring interest. In the wild, this sedge occurs in partial sun or shade in well-drained or dry acidic woodlands. In landscape situations, typically this is grown as a ground cover or even a lawn substitute for the shade garden. So if you do have a shady spot that you're having trouble growing traditional grasses, the Pennsylvania sedge might be an excellent option for you. It forms these loose leafy tufts. You don't have to mow it, and the plants will quickly spread into these colonies of dense mats. So great ground cover, and it grows similar to how a grass would. It's a great lawn alternative. Canadian wild ginger is a low colony forming perennial that prefers light to deep shade, and it's often found on rocky acidic soils. It has a ginger-like scent and even a flavor. Actually, Native Americans used the root of this plant to flavor foods similar to how we use culinary ginger, which is a completely different plant family. It's not related to this one at all, but it does have similar qualities. Each plant bears a pair of large velvety heart-shaped leaves, and the flowers of wild ginger are small, dark-colored, and hidden by the foliage. So the flower is actually underneath the foliage. If you're ever seeing this in the wild, you have to lift the leaves up and then you can see the flower growing. And that happens in the spring. It grows only 4 to 8 inches high, and it spreads via underground rhizomes to form a colony, making it a great ground cover option in shady areas. It has a kind of poor drought tolerance. It needs high organic matter in the soil and make sure that it maintains constant moisture. So it's not really a great plant for dry shade, but if you have wetter shade areas or you're able to provide that moisture to it, it's a really great plant. Again, it has the underground rhizomes, so it will spread in the area, so just keep that in mind. Next up is elephant ears, and they're renowned for their dramatic heart-shaped bright green foliage. It creates a really tropical garden effect with striking visual appeal. This one in particular is 4 to 6 feet high, 3 to 4 feet wide. There's tons of different varieties of elephant ears in all different colors, all different shapes, but they really have that signature heart-shaped foliage. And this one that you're looking at on the screen, the heart-shaped foliage is about the size of your hand, just to get an idea of scale here. They like really rich, well-drained soil. Many types of elephant ears can be grown in partial shade, but the darker colored varieties are best grown in full sun. They need a little bit more sun. These are grown as annuals in colder zones like zone 7 and under. You can just dig up the big bulb at the end of the season, store them, and use them again the next season. I wouldn't recommend growing elephant ears where they actually grow as a perennial, like in the warmer zones, as it can be kind of aggressive. So as long as this is an annual in your zone, they're very, very beautiful, and they add that tropical feel to your garden when, us in the colder zones, we don't really have a lot of choices for tropical plants, and this is one that is always a go-to for me. Here we have Caladium Red Flash, and it's grown as an annual in zones 1 through 9, and it's a perennial in zones 10 and 11. It's said to be deer resistant. You can start to see the foliage emerge from your bulbs in as little as 3 weeks after planting, so it's a really fast grower. It has heart-shaped foliage, and this one, obviously, these aren't as large as what you just saw in the elephant ear, but they are really beautiful, and they have this striking red and green hues. This plant is sure to catch anyone's eye, especially in the shade with these really bright, vibrant colors. And caladiums come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors, so you can definitely look those up and see which one would fit with your color scheme in your garden. Caladiums bring such a burst of color from summer all the way through autumn until we hit the frost. So yeah, it's just a really good choice. I use these in containers all the time, and even in the ground in some of my shady areas just to add a pop of color. They prefer well-drained, moist, rich soil, so make sure you show it some love by mulching around its beds. This is Twinkletoes Lungwort, and it's a really cute perennial with these lovely periwinkle blue flowers that age to violets and pinks in mid to late spring. Its unique dark green leaves are speckled with patches of silver, so it's super appealing not only when it's in bloom, but also when the foliage fades at the end of spring. It's still really interesting in the garden, and anytime that you can get pops of white or lighter colors in a shade garden, you have a winning plant on your hands. So this thrives in full shade to part shade, and it attracts bees and hummingbirds, very low in maintenance, and also deer resistant, which is really interesting because if you really like the look of hostas, this is a great option for you. And I love to use it. I use it for edging, for shaded pathways, and I also use it in containers sometimes too. Really, really versatile plant. This is Jack Frost Bruna, and it features frosty silver leaves that resemble almost like a cracked porcelain. It provides a really brilliant backdrop to the bright baby blue flowers that kind of float above it in early spring. And these flowers are really true blue, one of the few that I've found in my own garden experiments that actually says blue and is blue. It's compact in growth, 18 to 24 wide and just as high, so you can kind of tuck it into those spaces that you have in the shady areas of your garden. It thrives in full apart shade. It's deer resistant also, so another option if you can't do hosta. And it's very bee and pollinator friendly and just in general low maintenance and just a really, really beautiful plant. The blooms last a really long time, and then when they're done, you get this awesome, beautiful foliage too. So I can't say enough great things about this plant. It's actually one of my absolute favorites. So there you have some of my favorite foliage plants for shade, but I realize that this isn't a comprehensive video, so if you have a favorite foliage shade plant, please leave it in the comments below. And if you liked this video, you're going to really love the one that I did on flowering plants for shade. So I'm going to leave a link to that right here, and I'll see you over in the next video.